In Formula One, fast, accurate, and reliable data can be the difference between winning or losing. Team synergy, especially the trust between drivers and the relationships between the drivers and their engineers, is just as critical to a winning season.
Many of us are very thrilled by the relationship between the drivers. There's also a strong relationship between the driver and folks like yourself and the engineers. Can you tell us a little bit about that relationship, and in particular, how information and the reliability of that information really helps build that relationship?
Sure. So obviously, both drivers have their specific race engineer and performance engineer and a control engineer on that car. And those guys have a really close relationship. The performance engineer goes through all the data with the drivers after every practice session. Also, when they're back in the factory, they'll be doing sessions in the simulator as well. So there's a lot of data sharing with those guys, and the controls engineers, every start they do, they go through that in detail. And then for strategy, so there'll be one of us at an event, so we will do the strategy for the team, because it's more of a team decision maybe than a specific driver, which is where what you were talking about, the synergy between the drivers really comes in. Because for a strategist, if you can use your drivers to help the team, not just as individuals, then that's a lot more powerful than you having to kind of treat them identically. You can use one driver to hold someone up, or you can split the cars and do a one-stop and a two-stop, because we're not sure which one's going to win out in the end. So I think that makes for a really powerful strategy.
Has there been a moment when the driver has insisted on going in a different direction from what the data would suggest?
So that does sometimes happen. I would say our drivers are very good at listening to you and listening to the data. But often there might be some grey areas, maybe is very close between which tyre compound you want to start the race on. So whether that's a soft or a medium. We're quite collaborative, where we'll always talk to the drivers and Christian and everyone, and the race engineers. We're all involved in the discussions on strategy before a race, so that everyone kind of knows what's happening. And on paper, it might look like the soft's actually a quicker tyre, let's start on it. But the driver might have a feeling that we haven't quite captured in the data, and they'll say, no, I much prefer the medium. And then at that point, we take that into consideration along with the data. So you would never say, well, we'll just go with what you think, and then come up with the best tyre together using all that information.
And I'm sure as we collect more and more data, that'll converge
exactly
more and more. So Christian Horner described data as being the lifeblood of the organisation. I wonder if you could make us feel that for real. Take us trackside for a minute and tell us how you're using what bits of data to make these real-time decisions.
Data is essential to what we do. That goes into every decision we make. So our simulations will have, before we even get to the track, we'll put in what we expect the tyres to do, what we think the overtaking will be at that track, all the paces we're expecting of our competitors and us. And then when we're at the track, we can use data to better estimate all those variables. So after the running on a Friday, we can come up with better pace estimates for us and our competitors. And we can put that into our simulations. We will know more information about what the tyres are doing, what the degradation is, what the life is, and the pace difference between those tyres. That will go in. Also, we know a bit more about overtaking. So when there are changes to the car, that might change the way how close the driver can get to another car, and so forth, and that will change the overtaking. So then we can put a better overtaking model into our simulations as well. So all of these things are changed and updated throughout the weekend, and we rerun simulations on the Friday, on the Saturday when we know the start order, and then we look at all safety cars and everything. So basically, we're constantly using the data and refining those.
You're using
models.
Lots of
exactly,
and that's very much the real-time data coming in.
Catch the full show by visiting the link in the description. And always be on the lookout for our next episode of the Oracle Customer Spotlight series. You never know which company we'll shine a light on next.